What's our topic discussion
So
tonight,
our
Bo?
topic discussion of the week is as follows. Hideo
All
Kojima sat down with IGN at RTX Sydney, and he, in the interview, said that he thinks the Nintendo Switch will bring cloud-based gaming to the forefront, and that he hopes cloud-based gaming is the next step in gaming. Essentially, he sees the future as being able to play any game on any system. Right now, TV shows, movies, and music are all available across multiple platforms and available anywhere in the world as long as you have network access. It only makes sense that the same should be true for gaming going forward. So the question for the week is: will cloud-based gaming bring about the demise of graphic-intensive games and maybe PC gaming as a whole due to the limitations of handheld devices? While you
No.
don't lose much if a movie, TV show, or a song is compressed for streaming, high polygon counts and rich textures aren't doable with handheld gaming devices and smartphones because of battery restraints. Cloud-based gaming could cloud-based gaming push the gaming industry away from PC to consoles like the Switch and a loss of quality? Yes.
Yes, Ben.
Yay. Okay. So, as of right now, no, cloud-based gaming is limited due to the fact that a lot of internet providers around USA and even just around the globe is not strong enough to everyone. So you won't get really top-notch. You won't see it in 1080p or anything. You'll be getting whatever your internet provider provides.
Right.
In the future, I do see it happening. I have tested it on the PS4 and on the NVIDIA Shield, and it is really good. It was beta testing, so it did have its bugs and everything in it, but it actually does work as intended, where it is high quality gaming.
This was on
With,
that.
and,
Wasn't
and
there?
all it is just your upload and your download bandwidth. That's all you
So
need.
you think that the wireless side of it will overtake the wired side eventually?
I had no latency issues at all. I just had
I
some.
don't know about it.
I'm
It
with
depends on
you.
how close to the.
Well, that's the thing. They'll probably put more servers up once it gets more popular, and at the same time, the faster the speeds are, the better it is.
It's
Well,
all
see,
about ping, essentially.
Yeah.
It is, but you can also upgrade a wireless network to a greater capacity than you can a wired network. Because if you think about it, what we have right now is fiber optics, right? That's the gold standard.
In some areas, some places don't even get fiber. They still have DSL and
Losers.
Exactly.
bastards.
That's wrong. But you can stretch to a greater. You could stretch it to a greater audience than you can with the wired network because you can only get so far so quick because it's still manual labor. You have to go in and put those wires in to facilitate those speeds where you can take a wireless network and you can upgrade as much as you want and have a device in your home that will accept those and you don't need any manual labor for that.
But wireless, I know wireless is still sketchy on that. It still need the nodes and everything and actual.
You just need a device that can.
Well, I think the problem is that it's
So
like if I take my Switch down the road, it's got 2 to 3 hours tops. That's
You're talking about your next or your hypothetical Nintendo Switch.
yeah. If I take this,
Well, the Switch right now is not confirmed to have cloud computing. Thank you to Saul on finding that actual post. It's not saying that it's not going to in the future, but as of right now, it does not.
I can tell you this right now, just because of the capabilities that they have introduced to the wireless network. You can put your car on your cell phone network, and you can track it. You can have I don't know if you guys have heard about it yet, but Verizon has a thing that's called a Hum, and you can put it in your car. It's an onboard diagnostics reader. It will track your car. It will give you a breadcrumb trail of where your car's been. It will allow you to put a parameter of where they're allowed to go in this certain vicinity. So it's good for teenagers. You can track where they're going, how fast they're going. So you'll be able to put things like the Switch. You'll be able to put it on the network, and you'll be able to put it on your Verizon plan.
Almost like I lost my phone.
For what do you mean?
Like the apps and everything,
Yeah.
where I lost my phone so you can track where your phone is GPS.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Something
you
like
can.
that.
It just
you'll be able
pings the towers and triangulates.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. So you'll be able to, and I think eventually in time, you'll be able to take your computers that used to not be able to be put onto a cellular network. Now you can put a computer is enabled for cellular networks. So you'll be able to have a switch that's cellular enabled, and you'll be able to have all these things that are cellular enabled because I think over time, just because of the sheer manpower that's involved and because of the ability to expand the network with far less work involved with it, that wireless internet and wireless connections are going to overtake the landline.
The wireless connections have a much higher latency though. Wired
Wireless.
connections will always have a lower latency.
And
I'm not saying wireless won't.
They will, but they will be adequate enough to run
Some
those
games, yeah. I don't
They
think
will
every
be-
game.
But I still see landlines being the superior thing, especially in the cloud computing aspect of it all. Yes, it's not going to happen within 5 years because,
It's not gonna be anytime soon.
yeah, it's not going to be anytime soon because we
No,
still
we're
have
not
to
talking-
run fiber or whatever the next generation of.
I know
But it could be. It could very well be sometime soon. I mean, if you think about how long it's
No.
been since
Wasn't
we've had,
there a company that did cloud-based gaming?
Then NVIDIA.
just think
It was
about how
NVIDIA?
long it's been since
And
we've
I've tested
had
that.
data on our cell phones, and how long that process has been going on. It's only been about 10 years or so. So 10 years from now, just think about how the advancements are going to work in that progression.
Shadow.
It's going to be an incredible advancement here in the next 10 to 15 years on what the wireless connection speeds, download rates, frame rates, ping, all of that stuff is going to be. The latency.
I
It's
have
all going
comments.
to be a really. I really truly believe that the wireless side is going to end up taking over home internet.
I have comments for that, but Shadow's next. Shadow, go ahead.
That's all fine and great. I mean, we're never going to get outside the line of that telegraph. You know what I mean? Telegraph is the pinnacle technology, and it's just the greatest thing in the world. 10 years from now, there might be something that makes wireless and landlines look completely fucking a joke. So we're kind of arguing over stuff that doesn't matter. I don't think I got to disagree with Ice because wireless is fantastic, but there's too much interference with the actual signal.
Yeah.
A microwave can completely fucking destroy a wireless network if it's not, if the wireless network isn't set up properly.
Cell phones.
No,
Your cell
I can-
phone will also interfere.
Well, some are good for some things and some are good for others. I don't think
You
that
can
a
trump that,
wireless
though.
signal would be good for cloud-based gaming.
And also, you got to
It may
remember,
not.
like wireless, I do agree is great, but interferences, especially for people that live in apartments where there's tons of routers in one.
It's all based off of
There's gonna be tons of
frequencies, though.
interference.
It's all based
I
off of
was-
frequencies. If you could set it on a frequency that no other appliance can attain,
But as of right now, the only
then who's going to
frequencies that
stop
are
you?
really going is 2.4 channels, and then 8 to whatever channels.
And how many people know how to change their frequency on the router?
Well, they're going to end
How
up
many
having.
people know to go into their router settings?
Just
I
like,
I read
older
somewhere
generation
that
has a hard time learning about
hang on.
the older generation has a hard time learning about smartphones. While my kid here can tell you every single thing about her computer and her laptop and a tablet that there is to know, and she's 11.
Yeah, I know, and I could program a VCR, and my parents couldn't. But it's what
Exactly.
I'm saying is that that's fine and dandy.
Ingrained into our
It's a variable. The problem is that it's one of those things where you deal with a wireless signal. There's way too many variables of people that can fuck with it, and we already have a major issue with people doing it for trolling purposes only with DDoS attacks.
DOS attacks. DDoS.
If you go to a completely wireless network, it's completely accessible by anybody, which sounds great in theory, but the truth of the matter is that it's not going to function. It's like AOL back in the day. When it first started up on 56K, it was quick, but once the network got clogged, it's completely fucking shit. So I think it's an interesting aspect, but I think the hard line's still going to be controlled just because you can control a lot more of your system. Plus, you can insulate the signal and make the signal actually not get interfered with, which means you have better overall connection and data rates.
And the latency's
So,
lower.
Yeah.
The data rates can be
So-
roughly the same. It's the latency that's the problem.
Well, that's
Because you're not going one way. You're going two ways. You have to send your controls there, and then they have to send them back. So if you have a 30 ping or a 50 ping, that's a long time between when your character finally moves after you tell it to.
and anybody that's done and knows gaming, that is a game breaker in certain types of games.
Right. You can't do. Yeah, you wouldn't be able to do competitive like at
Actually,
all.
Yeah.
Well,
Single
not
player
just
games, it could
competitive
work.
No, even single player games, it could be life and death.
It could be
Like,
annoying. Yeah, absolutely.
Think about it, like League of Legends, once they moved their servers to Chicago, a lot of people saw big improvements from being in the 200s down to the 50s.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. But if you think of the single player game where you're trying to actually like dodge stuff and everything, and you're sitting at 50 ping, that's still horrible.
Yeah, Dark Souls would not be as fun.
Here's my concern. My concern is to utilize the whole wireless feature. They're going to start limiting graphics to kind of
No.
lower, like the new Zelda is going to be capped, and it's going to be at what 16 by 900.
900p.
Yeah, they have to do that just so the battery will last long enough to be worth anything while you're playing it wirelessly.
But honestly,
I'm afraid that people are going to start developing games that are cut corners on graphic fidelity and length of like how long the game lasts, just so they can pump out these smaller games that work well on something they can go out and play for 3-4 hours before it dies.
Well, the
okay,
thing-
but at the same time, we got to remember we're at the generation where we grew up with games that had horrible graphics but great storylines, great systems. So at the same time, graphics.
I grew up in the generation that was playing Pong
We're still
on
growing up.
just a joystick.
The thing about
Well, that's
the
what I
thing-
mean. I'm saying that like graphics shouldn't mean diddly squat, and I think that's what Nintendo was getting at with that. That's not cloud computing based or wireless based on what we're talking about, but that's what I want to say. And so I saw you were raising your hand, so go ahead. Let's go with you next.
So
What, me?
You
I was
raised-
raising my hand like 20 minutes ago. It's
You're the
gone
only
now. It's
son.
fine.
It's gone. Okay.
The thing that I would say about battery life is the whole point of doing cloud-based gaming is that the graphics processing isn't on your end; it's on their end. So
Exactly.
I think battery life is going to go.
Yeah.
No and yes.
I
that's
think it may go up, but
if
the
you
other
think about
thing,
wire-
and the other thing is they can put whatever graphics card they want on their end, and they could render it in 1080p and send it to your whatever, your phone or your Switch-like tablet or your PC or whatever, and you wouldn't have to worry about it. So I don't think it's going to affect graphic fidelity, other than
No,
yeah,
being
but see-
compressed as it
It
goes
won't
through the
affect
internet.
that, but at the same time, it's still like if the speed connecting to their server to your device will affect the graphic fidelity on what you see on your end. That's the time the battery will
it
still
will.
get burned out because of Wi-Fi.
Yeah, it will. Just look at anybody that's trying to stream anything through the services. If you don't have the best connection, it's going to be blurry as hell until it actually connects properly.
Like right
So
now,
you're still gonna
people that
see
are
that.
watching on Twitch, if you're watching on Twitch and you're trying to stream 1080p, you're on a laptop without being plugged in, you're draining your battery right now really fast.
Yeah. I mean,
And it
that's
also
fair.
goes down to like even if they somehow enhance something better than Wi-Fi, it's still going to drain the battery. There's nothing at this moment that I have found articles that is really good wirelessly. Ice, I'm done.
Well, eventually, yes, it is fair because you go from having a single unit that stores all of your capabilities for producing a great graphic, and all you need is a signal download and upload to move forward in that server. So you don't have to worry about any of that when you're based off of, say, a computer, as opposed to wireless or cloud-based gaming where you're having to pull that graphic from the server to be able to stream it on your device in an intelligent graphic. But what I'm saying here is that they are able to offer, and this is in the works right now, is that they are able to offer a Wi-Fi capable device that is going to charge while you're on Wi-Fi. Okay, it's sort of like QI where you have the wireless charging, except it comes from your internet signal. Now it's not very strong right now, but it was QI when it started. But they will be able to, over time, gradually increase that capability for your.
That's great. You can just play games until cancer takes you.
Right, exactly.
They already put that cancer
Your balls are going to swell up to elephantitis like they were back in. But you know, they're developing that technology for you to be able to charge your device through a Wi-Fi connection, so you could essentially play your game while it's charging. So it's just like doing a laptop. You're playing the game while it's hooked up to the wall.
Yes, but what we're trying to get at earlier was the fact that it's not going to be in the short term.
Oh, hell no.
It'll be more in the long term, like 10 years down the road. Because you also got to remember, every year a game comes out, the graphics get more intense. So that's
what I'm saying. If here in the future we have a bunch of systems where they need to be less graphically intense to be able to go from wired to wireless, if 65% of the market is games that are the graphics have been tuned down to accommodate that, we could see technology stop being developed for the computer, because who needs a 1080 graphics card if you're going to have a capped frame rate and all that.
The enthusiasts
eventually see that switch to where you're not going from the computer.
Let's drop the switch. Let's drop the switch in general. Like, just drop the switch and just be devices in general, because I think it'd be safer that way.
Look, no matter what the device is, your limit is going to be battery. It's
battery, and at the same time, as of right now,
add in the Wi-Fi charging though.
But Wi-Fi charging is still limited, and at the same time, like I can't speak goddamn English shit tonight.
All right, can I jump in here?
Go ahead. I'm gonna drink some more water.
It's okay. We just prior to this, we talked about the aspect of VR and AR and all that jazz. And we're talking about having a portable handheld game system, walking around and doing shit like that. I think we're really kind of putting the cart before the horse here, because yes, people do actual mobile gaming and stuff like that. Shit like that. They don't really I think we're really they don't go outside and sit in a park and then game for 8 hours.
Have you seen Pokemon Go?
That's a different situation, and it's not really like they're gaming. It's more of a collecting, a fucking treasure hunt.
It's a mindless wandering.
Yeah. So
you don't even know.
I do actually.
Saw from across the room.
But it's one of those things where
okay. Calm down. Calm your ass down, Ice.
It's one of those things. What I'm saying is, it's one of those things where it's it's more or less a intermediate thing where it's like you're at work and you're killing time, or you're waiting in line somewhere and you're killing time. It's not like you're going, I want to go out and play video games, and you're deciding to walk to the park to sit in the fucking public area.
Well, that's the whole point of the Switch type gaming system, is to...
The Switch is dependent on that as a handheld console gaming thing. But as of right now, cloud-based gaming on it is not possible unless you take the cell phone, tether it to it, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, whatever. As I said, it's not going to be happening right now. It still has so many limitations.
I don't see the technology really actually becoming dependent or being driven by that. I think that the aspect of graphics and the aspect of the mobile market, I think it's two totally different things. If the market is going to go more towards VR, AR, then it's going to go towards more a lockdown, as Bone brought up, Ready Player One type element, which is still going to be based on it. Now, cloud might be involved with that, but I think it's going to be the next step between a cloud and an actual ISP, where you have a mixture of the two that become more powerful, allowing you to have a signal that
combination.
Yeah. And that's not going to be necessarily based on a mobile aspect. Now, your mobile aspect might tie into it, but I don't think it's going to be. I don't think the market's going to drive that, because the aspect is that it's still going to be. You're going to be. You might have a Switch-like element where you can take it and walk around with it and still have access to whatever you're playing.
But with dumbed down graphics.
Yeah, but it's it's only going to be that when you're not home, and then when you get back, you're still going to plug into your main system, and then you're going to have all the aspects and the better fidelity and better graphics and better thing through your hard line or through whatever.
Yeah, but
I think
if you
that's
have
more
a
realistic real time sense than what we're talking about. We're talking about years and years down the future, where you're talking about something that's capable of being done the next, I don't know, 8 to 10.
Well, you never know, because you never know what's going to happen next week. It's one of those things where technology can change on a dime, and then you have a complete revolution based upon it.
Technology changes every 6 months.
Well, it does to a point, Benthans, but I mean, realistically speaking, we've been stagnant for 10 years. I mean,
We hit a plateau where it's
yeah.
we keep trying to keep pushing more and more, going smaller and smaller and smaller. But now we're hitting that plateau where we can't go smaller. Where what's that, Moore's law? No.
Moore's law, they actually been. I think they've talked about that recently, where they've actually broken it.
Did they?
Ice muted. But it's like it's one of those things where the technology is plateaued hard, and even like with the graphics aspect, we're not really getting into the aspect of making games prettier to a point. We're just getting into them, rendering them more. It's finesse more than actually like changing.
I think part of that is competition as well.
Competition is the best way to drive that type of production, but it's one of those things where, like, I'll still go back to the whole aspect of PC. Back in the early 2000s, when you saw like ragdoll physics and the more physics-based graph engines in there, that was like a game-changing thing where like every 6 months you needed to buy a new graphics card because the card would have what you needed to actually play the new games.
The only big game changer right now was the 1080 and 1070, the 10 series, I should say. That was the big game changer in this generation right now.
But it didn't change the power. It didn't change the overall brute force or ability of the card. It just cut down on the energy needed to run it.
It did and didn't. It did increase the power by, I think, what was that, like 30%?
But
not really. It's still kind of
it's
related
all
to cloud gaming.
I don't see the mobile market or even the cloud market, because the whole idea behind the cloud market is the aspect of being able to go anywhere and do anything.
Well, not really. It's just still being able to have a low system.
Cloud and mobile synonymous with each other.
It's still it's the cloud market is more based on having a low end system or just like a laptop and being able to play.
But the difference between a regular server and a cloud-based area, when you're on a regular server, you get a few packets of data. Everybody gets packets of data, and everybody starts swapping them back and forth. The cloud, everybody gets large. You're streaming large chunks of data, as opposed to just the little package. You get tons of.
Yeah.
You're basically streaming an entire game from
California,
almost
Chicago, wherever.
You're also increasing the amount of data being transferred, which also means you're going to be increasing the problems that are coming with that signal.
Well, that's why I don't see wireless being good for it right now, like with what wireless systems we have in this time period. But
cloud technology is moving forward mostly because of cellular technology.
Yeah.
Cloud technology is not.
Cloud technology for gaming is going to be.
Cloud technology is being based around the aspect that I can go and basically access my music, my movies, and my data wherever I want to do it.
That's not what I was getting at.
Not necessarily to the fact that I can go play Skyrim in the middle of fucking Timbuk fucking 2.
No, that's not what I was trying to get at. What I was trying to get at was cloud-based gaming, not just cloud-based gaming. I'm just saying cloud-based gaming in general was more based on having that Toshiba laptop you bought from Best Buy and being able to play Skyrim at max settings. Yeah. That's basically what I was trying to get at. It all relies on your internet connection, and as of right now, especially in the US, not happening, especially with the prices of connection. Because you're not going to just need download, you're also going to need upload to transfer what you're receiving back to the server.
Well, the upload doesn't have to be crazy. I mean,
no, but it still needs decent speed.
You need to have the connection, otherwise you're going to have severe latency because you're not communicating.
Latency is the issue. It depends on if I'm playing and I have a server in New York City, it's still a 10 ping, so that's 20 millisecond there and back for my inputs, and that's a good situation.
And you're still dealing with the aspect too that it's 100% reliant on the network. If the network is not functioning or not working 100%, you no longer have access to any of your property or any of the actual shit that you're doing. which is an extreme problem.
Well, similar
I mean,
questions were brought up when Steam was introduced too.
That is an aspect to that, but the thing is
So-
that as long as the game is downloaded, you can play it offline. It's
Right.
an offline game.
You never used to be able to.
You not all the time, but I'm just
Steam
saying
used to
that
have to be online.
it's now that Steam's now built in DRM to it where you can get away with that. So, but
I
I'm
wish
just
I had my old phone because then I could show you guys exactly. And I'm solely purely basing this off the Verizon network because that's what I have. It just ran superior to any other speeds. They upgraded the network to what they call LTE Advanced, and now that's up to 150 megabytes per second. No, 200 megabytes per second download and 50 upload. So we're talking about getting right up there with home internet.
Yeah,
So,
but you also got to remember gaming
my ping
servers
is
might not accept
running
that.
around 25 to 30 with that. So I don't know where the latency falls in there.
Yeah, the latency is the issue. Not the
Right.
the size or the width, but the length.
I'm sure that if they could figure out how to get 200
Oh, shit.
megabytes
Excuse me.
download
Thank you.
and 50 upload, there's probably not going to be too much of an issue figuring out latency in between that.
Sentence.
Okay. How many of you actually tried cloud gaming right now? Like who has tried it right now?
I used to have a cloud-based server at work and it was horrible.
No, I'm talking about like servers that are out, like PS4 services or Sony's PS Now or Nvidia's. Who's tried it? Just Ice and me? Okay. Ice. This is basically just straight to you since you've actually used it. What's your internet connection?
300 down.
300 down. So if you think that the PlayStation 4 game you're streaming or PS3, PS1, PS2, whatever game you're streaming, does it look like what it would be if you're playing on that generation of the console?
If you're just playing it straight from the console, disc inserted.
Yeah, like does it resemble as the console, like when you move the character, like does it feel like you're playing on the console itself? There's no latency at all right now.
I don't feel very much of a difference, if anything at all.
Okay. I'm gonna say like I haven't tried PS Now, but I have tried the NVIDIA service on my NVIDIA Shield tablet. No marketing intended.
Go buy this.
Yeah, I'll give that is right now. It's on Amazon for whatever cost. No, I did try it though when they were beta testing it for free. I tried Darksiders. Yeah, Darksiders.
Mhm.
On wireless, not actually plugged in at all. I had no latency, and this was beta testing. Usually, when there's like tons of bugs and everything, I had no issues. So as of right now, for home, depending on your internet connection, because I have 50 down, 5 up. I had a good connection. So as a cloud gaming for home use, I can
I've
see
got 300 out of 50 up.
I can for home use, I can see it happening, it being great, especially for the people that just don't want to build my kind of system, Shadow's kind of system, our kind of system, where it's over $1,000, where it's more than a used car.
Yeah.
So cloud gaming, I can see being there. It's basically the cost of Netflix, where you're paying $10 a month, $20 a month to play on their services on their servers. Because that's what
What about
that's
fighting
what
games and racing games?
right.
So what you're saying?
It still depends on your internet connection, and I think that's where it's going to like really heavily.
Yeah, it's all about latency on those, especially for like racing games and fighting games, especially because your latency is going to be life or death.
Yeah, and that's still where it comes down to, where it's one, the major two factors. One, where their servers are located, and if they're going to have multiple ones throughout the globe. Two, what your connection actually is, because I know PS Now and Nvidia's service, they actually have a minimum requirement on what they recommend you should be using for that service. Off the top of my head, I do not know.
Okay. Any last comments on that?
I like this.
It's going to be cool to see where it's going.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how things end up with that idea. Okay.